If it like YouTube, welcome back to another episode. The display, I noticed today that the tank was starting to look a bit cloudy. And here's why. My Trocus snails all over the tank are starting to spawn. Must be a full moon or something. But managed to catch this guy on film doing it. And pretty much all of them were at it, really. Okay, so as you can see, it's been a few hours since the snails were spawning and the water's crazy cloudy now. I don't think I can even remember a time when my water was as cloudy as this. So hopefully it clears up soon. And I look forward to seeing some baby snails. Free cleanup crew. You can't argue with that. Right, it's now 2 o'clock in the morning. It's been a couple of weeks since the cloudy water. Just looking at Dyson sleeping in his hole there. And I noticed there's 2 baby Trocus snails. So that free cleanup crew is just kicking in now. So there's one down here and then one about 7 o'clock where Dyson's sleeping, which is really, really cool. You just see them moving about. They're tiny like. I spied another one up here. So it's like I'm busy trying to like spy all these snails now. Find another couple. And the more I look, the more I'm starting to see. There's literally tons of them now. There's another one here, another one there. They're all over the blooming place. So that's good. Save me buying some snails for a while. Right, it's time to get some new lights onto the tank because just now the tank's running on the primes. The AI hydras are not working. They haven't worked for weeks and weeks and weeks. It's doing my head in, and if I didn't have these primes just now, my tank would be buggered. There'd be absolutely no light on it, and my hydras are out of warranty, so it's obviously going to cost me a fair bit of money to get these fixed. But rather than trying to get them fixed, I've decided I'm going to go for something totally different. And I actually went for these. The main reason that I've went for these lights, the Kessel A360Xs, is because they've actually got control knobs on the light unit. So it doesn't matter if anything happens to your Wi-Fi, the app, the controller, doesn't matter. You can still control it with the actual buttons. It's on the light. So this was a major selling point for me. So this is why I've decided to go for the Kessels. And hopefully they're going to be good lights. And the corals will respond positively to it. Okay, so all the lights are done. I've put them together. It was a fair job getting the hydras and everything off, like, but all that's taken care of now. And here's the main selling point to these lights for me is, look at that, I can actually adjust things with the turn of a knob. Brilliant. So that's a nice feature that I like. And should anything happen with the controller or the app or whatever, at least I've got something manually that I can work, and I don't hate to worry about my tank being out of light again. So that's fantastic. Really happy with that. Now I've got them mounted really high up just now because I can't link them together. I need to get a separate cable. And I looked online, and the cable for Kessel was like 50 quid, and the cheapest I found was like 39 quid, and it's like 10 feet long. And I was like, sod that, I'm not paying that for that. So I went on Amazon and I found the exact same cable for 8 quid, and it's only a metre long, so that'll be perfect. Once it arrives, I'll be able to get them hooked up onto this controller here. Once that happens, I'll be able to drop the heights to the level that I'm wanting, and then I can set an acclimation mode, and that'll be fine. The AI hydras, I've actually sent them away to see what the problem is with them and see if I can get them fixed. If they come back and they're working, well then I'll stick one in the middle here, just to give it a little extra bit of light, since most of my SPS are kind of down that middle section anyway. And we'll see how that looks. But just with the Kessels, my god, I'm absolutely impressed. Love it. And I've forgotten how much I've missed the shimmer. So like I was saying, I missed the shimmer because I used to have metal halides. Going to the primes and the hydras, you didn't get any shimmer. But wow, I'm absolutely loving the look of this. And I've received my AI hydras back, and they're fixed. Apparently it was a motherboard problem or something. Didn't ask me, I'm not very technologically minded, like, so all I can is they're working now, and that is fantastic. So I've stuck one of them back onto the tank. The other one I'll use in my quarantine tank or something, or I'll just keep it as a backup for whatever reason. But like I said, just now I've got them mounted really high up until I can get that cable, get them daisy changed, and then I'll be able to get that acclimation mode set up. And I'll also put an acclimation mode on the hydra, because last thing I want to do, like I say, is I don't want to cook any of my corals, because they're not used to bright light just now. It's just been a couple of primes, as I said before. Now, I got a question. Somebody was asking me what this brown stuff was, and they thought it was vermitid snails, but it isn't. This is basically just my corals pooping. Because I've been feeding rotifers, phytoplankton every day, the corals are constantly eating, so like everything, what goes in must come out. And the Recordiers do it regularly, the Duncans do it regularly, and that's all it is. It's nothing, absolutely nothing to worry about. There's no problems. It's just the corals getting rid of the waste that they didn't need, just like we do. So hopefully that answers your question, buddy. So I'll give you guys and girls a closer look at the tank. The tank is looking way better this month than it did last month. Due to the neglect, it was on the verge of tipping over to the really dark side, and green hair algae was starting to take over the tank, cyanobacteria, you name it. It was just going downhill. But managed to get on top of it, and the tank's looking really good now. Everything's looking fantastic. Some of the corals could do with a wee bit of better colours, but due to the lighting that they've had, and my nutrient level was so high, so hopefully things will improve even more now with the new lights. Now I've got these Kessel lights in the brackets in the middle of the sides of the tank, because I've not got enough room at the back of the tank to fit the brackets, which was stupid. Hang on a minute, I forgot to put that flipper magnet there to hide that pump. Let me get the other magnet for it. Just swap them over the new. Come on, get in there. There we go. So what was I saying? So I put my tank far too close to the back wall. So that was a rookie move, like, but never mind. So I've got these brackets with the kettle lights at the side, but then you can see the cable through there, which looks flipping horrible. So I'm going to move them towards, still on the sides, but move them further back. So that'll get rid of that eyesore like. But here, looking where all the green hair algae was, as you can see, it's completely gone. And everything is looking a million times better than it did. So really, really happy. A few corals have moved. I can't even remember if I mentioned it in a previous episode, but my green hydrophora, it just wasn't happy with where it was, just because it was getting blasted with flow from the MP40. So I've moved it to the back there. So fingers crossed it's going to like that spot more, because it's clearly no looking as good as it should do anyway. But Cataphilia, this thing's just stunning. Absolutely love that coral. My plate corals, fantastic. I've fragged a couple of my zoanthids as well. But overall, everything is looking really good. So I thought I would test out my primes and see how they looked. So I've got them all set up. I've not switched them on yet. So this is what the tank looks like just now, with just the 2 Kessels and the 1 Hydra in the middle. So there's quite a lot of dark areas, especially at the sides and the back. So I was just curious to see what it's going to look like when I add the primes. So I'll go and switch the primes on. As you can see, they're not switched on yet, and we'll see how it looks. Right, I've switched on the primes, and oh my god, there is so much light in here, it's ridiculous. Because of the angle of the primes, it's just shooting flow right to the back of the tank, so all the dark areas are completely lit up now. And do you know what, to be honest with you, I'm not really sure if I like it, because I think I prefer it the way it was before, because when you were looking at the tank with the darker areas and the back kind of being in darkness, there was more contrast, whereas this is just, to be honest with you, I think it's far too much, way too much light, and obviously more light isn't necessarily better, but I thought I'd just get a wee bash, just out of curiosity, and my curiosity is satisfied, and I definitely want to be adding these onto the tank. So I'm going to take these off and get it back to the way it was, because I don't care about you, but I actually preferred it the way it was before. This is just, just too much. But hey, nothing ventured, nothing gained, so I was just curious. But yeah, I actually prefer it when all these side areas and are in the darkness. I think it looks way better. Right, so good news is, as I'm sure a lot of you'll be delighted I've got rid of those primes. Kind of looked daft as well, to be honest. But hey ho, it was worth a wee test. So I've moved my Kessel brackets to the side, right to the back, and this looks way better now, I think you'll agree. So absolutely love the side view of the tank. I'd love it even more if that MP40s weren't there, like, but hey ho. And loving how this looks now. This looks way better than the Kessel arms being right in the middle of the sides of the tank. That kind of looked stupid. Whereas this is kind of as good as it's going to get till I get my upgrade. Then I'll be able to make sure I've got enough room at the back of the tank to fit them, so all the lights will be on the back glass. But this is the best I can do in a bad situation. So, and like I said, as soon as that K-Link cable arrives, I'll get them hooked up. Well, my Amazon cable, the £8 it's going to do the exact same job as the Kessel in. Okay, so this coral is a Dendrophilia, and it's non-photosynthetic. It comes out at night time for feeding. However, the location it's been in, it was just 1 polyp, or maybe 2 polyps when I got it. As you can see, it's been growing fantastically well over the years that I've had it. However, it gets a lot of flow where it's at, and the flow is constantly pushing down on it, and because of that some of the polyps struggle to open up at night along here, and you can see coralline algae just starting to take over the areas that aren't opening up as much. So I've decided I'm going to remove it from this location, and I'm going to try and find a new location for it, somewhere that's still easy enough for me to feed, because you obviously have to feed these corals since they don't get any energy from the light. And this area of the tank I think could be good because all these sun coral polyps are here. I don't know if you remember, but I've got no idea where these came from because I never put them in the tank. They've just kind of hitched hike on something, which is amazing. So they love it in this corner because it's dark, and because I didn't have that stupid prime zone, this area is dark, so that is probably a good spot for them. So although it's not ideal because I don't really get to enjoy them as much because I can't see them as much there, but I'll leave it the new. Okay, my bonsai, this was fragged a good while ago on an aquaforest plug. This was the next coral that was in urgent need of some attention. If I carried on leaving it where it was in this corner, it was probably just going to die, to be honest. It wasn't getting enough light, especially with the tank running on 2 primes for so long. Wasn't ideal. Better than nothing, like I said, but decided to remove it from here, stick it down the front there. Hopefully with the new lighting and everything kicks in, it'll colour up and get back to its full glory. Right, good news, I finally got the lights all set up. The K-Link cable from Amazon has arrived, and for £8, absolutely delighted. It's doing the exact same job as the Kessel one, which was like, what, 38 quid was the cheapest one I could find, and the most expensive one for the same thing was 50 quid, so flipping crazy price. I don't know how you can justify that for just a blooming cable. But the Amazon cable is working just fine, not a problem, and it's only 1 metre long, which is ideal. The Kessel cable is 10 feet long, which is crazy. It'll be cable hanging everywhere. But in the future, I will get the dongle for the Kessel lights so that I can control it off the app, a phone app as well. But it's just nice to be able to turn a knob should anything go wrong. As I've said before, that was the main reason for going with these lights. But really, really happy with how the tank's looking. I'll be even happier in 2 weeks' time once this acclimation's over. So I've got my program. I say I have my own program, and on this wee controller here, so everything is tickety-boo. Couple of weeks' time, everything will be ramped up to what I was wanting, and I think it's going to look amazing. Can't wait. But yep, really, really happy with the tank. Well, I've had to move the Dendrophilia again because the elegance coral, even though this was on the sandbed, nowhere near it, it was expanding out so much. It could obviously sense that there was something next to it, so it was trying to sting it. So I've placed it over here with the gorgonians that were growing in this cave, because the flame angel Vulcan, he wasn't very happy that his entrance was getting blocked to his cave. So that's him a happy chappy now, and I think everything is looking pretty good now. So I'll just leave you some footage with a bit of music to enjoy for the rest of the episode, but that's it for me. So till the next one, thanks for watching. Bye bye.
You say that you don't need me. You say let's take things slowly. I hope you realize you're playing with fire. I know what heartbreak feels like. I know I've shed some teardrops. I've been here before. You have done it now. Left me on the ground. This is it. I won't come back. If we don't stop, if we don't go, I'll be left alone every night when you go. Sitting by myself, going crazy like all the time. If we don't stop, if I don't go, words ain't easy. I know you can't talk to me, but I hope you realize